Hey guys, we have some closure to the fake PMG saga, and there are some very unexpected outcomes. So just let me give you guys a quick recap of what happened so far, right? So 2 weeks ago, I spent about $23,000 and bought a card of what I thought would be an authentic Michael Jordan PMG. Shortly after the purchase, based on the info that I found online, it seems like the card is most likely fake. 3 days later, eBay has passed the authentication of the card and deemed that it is an authentic PMG. But due to the publicity that this card has gotten, and the issue has ascended to a level where both BGS and eBay has paid close attention to this, both BGS and eBay contacted me and wanting to take the card back for a second look. I sent the card back to Beckett. And then a few days ago, Beckett has confirmed that the card is indeed fake. It is not a PMG, but a altered base metal universe card, not a PMG. Beckett has labeled it a PMG by mistake. So in other words, it has been labeled incorrectly. Yesterday, I had a three-way phone call with eBay and Beckett. On the phone was the rep from eBay. On the Beckett side, the vice president of Beckett, the head grader, and the manager that has been working with me on this issue all along. They were all on the phone. So let's talk about what happened yesterday. First of all, the card. Since the card, like I said, is now re-authenticated as a metal base card, altered, Beckett has confirmed that the card will be taken out of the slab. Remove it from the PMG pop report and re-slab it with metal base altered. This clearly confirms that it indicates what was sold on eBay can no longer be validated as a PMG. So the exact words from Beckett was, this card is not going to leave Beckett without the label and pop report being changed. So that's the first thing. The second thing, the money. This is where things got very, very interesting. eBay has assured me that I will be reimbursed for the full amount, $23,000. They will go through the refund process, which would take a couple of days, which is not a big deal. But when I asked eBay where the $23,000 will come from, so in other words, would the seller still receive his $23,000? eBay's answer was yes. The $23,000 would most likely be a straight out courtesy from eBay and not the seller. These are the exact words of eBay. So basically it means the seller would make 23 grand. I would get $23,000 as a courtesy from eBay, and eBay would take a hit of $23,000. Obviously this is very wild on multiple levels, right? So I basically asked the question of why, since everybody on the call and everybody that's following this issue now is clearly aligned on the card is a fake card. Why would the seller be paid $23,000 for basically be rewarded for selling a fake card? What eBay said was, due to eBay's policy, if the card has a no return policy from the seller, which this one does, and that answers the question of a lot of people saying, well, why don't you just return the card? If it has a no return policy, I cannot return the card. So if it has a no return policy and it passes eBay's authentication, then there is basically nothing you can do. Basically eBay is saying there is no return. The seller will always net the amount that the card is sold for. And I pushed on this subject a little bit. The answer I got was, because eBay only authenticates the label and it matches the listing, therefore authentication is always valid and no returns per policy. Now I did tell eBay, basically what I said is, listen guys, this is not gonna sit well in the community, right? People are gonna ask questions of why is eBay paying a fake card seller, right? And the response I got is, they appreciate my concern, but basically policy is policy. And if further investigation were to happen, which honestly I doubt it will be an internal eBay matter. So third point, where's the card going after this? So eBay couldn't give me a straight answer, but the rep said because of the value of the card and because of the courtesy amount, the card would most likely go to eBay. This actually makes sense because if the seller nets $23,000 and he's already sold the goods shouldn't go back to the seller, right? That the transaction is over. The card should definitely not come to me because my transaction is also over. I've been refunded. I did not buy anything. So the only logical party to receive the card is eBay. And I don't know what they will do with the card, but it seems like that's where the card is going. Fourth, are there going to be any changes going forward? So let's talk about this. I pitched this question to both BGS and eBay. For Beckett, the vice president said the difficult part of this is that they do have this authentic altered grade, right? But learning from this and going forward, BGS will make an effort to look at the card if it's altered in a way to look like a completely different card, which in this case it is. They may do something different. They don't know what, but they may change what they're doing. And what he said is it definitely made them think about things differently, which is positive. And he made a good point that this card, even if labeled correctly, even if it's labeled as a base metal altered with the red color, it may still cause a lot of confusion to people, right? So the fact that they're reevaluating the process, I think is really good. Now, from eBay's standpoint, I asked, what if somebody's in a similar situation as me? If they bought a card and then it's not what it's described to be on the slab, and it passes eBay authentication, is there any course of action they can do? The answer I got is basically the same. If it's a no return policy, if it passes authentication, it is a final sale. They can still try to appeal if the evidence suggests that the card is not what the label said to me. Then eBay can assist. Basically, eBay can extend the window by 3 days for the appeal, and then they can look at it. But honestly, I don't think it's very hopeful that things can be overturned. They did keep mentioning that this incident is a one-off incident, so that suggests that it's unlikely a situation like this would be resolved in similar way. I also asked the question of, are there any plans to revise the policy based on this incident? The answer is not at this moment. eBay did say that this is a pretty big payout for them, the $23,000. So this would open up the conversation to review the policy in the future. So no definitive answers there. Fifth, I asked them if there are any instances where legal actions will be taken if they find a submission or listing to be suspicious of basically fraudulent or criminal activity. What Becca said was, if BGS sees repeat offenders that have submissions that are constantly altered, they will reach out to them and basically warn them if this continues. If this continues, and there's account will be suspended, but I don't think there's going to be any legal actions that can be taken. And honestly, what the Beckett vice president said was, it's difficult to take legal actions because in the world of trading card, it's hard to say who manufactured the card, or if the card was bought or manufactured to be counterfeit, right? So it's very difficult to determine the root cause of the card. We closed the phone call by Beckett stating that it's important for them to reevaluate their grading decisions for the benefit of both me and the consumer and their company based on the learning of this incident. They seemed pretty adamant about continuous improvements of their process, and that's pretty much what wrapped up the phone call. So obviously, eBay paying $23,000 both to me and the seller is a big shocker. So the next step is Dan the card man has scheduled an interview with me later this week, tomorrow. And if you guys don't follow him, please give him a follow. Please hop on his channel and you'll be able to listen to the interview, and I can maybe answer some questions online. So I think for me, there are a couple of learnings for somebody that's kind of in the same situation as me, or somebody that's curious of this situation going forward. The first thing is, a no return policy from the seller is pretty much guaranteed no return once eBay authentication is passed. To me, the appeal seems unlikely to be successful unless you blow up the entire internet like me. No return means no return once it's passed. Number 2, eBay only authenticates the encapsulation and the label. This must be understood by the buyer. I didn't understand this when I bought this card, and I think a lot of people are kind of confused on, are they going to really authenticate the slab or the card? But that's 100% confirmed that eBay only authenticates the encapsulation. And number 3 is obviously leverage the hobby, do your own research before any purchase. I know it's asking a lot for every collector, but unfortunately, that's the only thing that's kind of within everybody's own control. So before I wrap up, I'd like to say a couple things. One, the hobby is in a really, really good place. I mean, this incident, everybody that helped me to get the word out, they gave me fantastic advice. People like Dan, Adam, Collect, Neo Card, Sports Card Investor, a lot more. Thank you, everybody, and I'm sure I forgot a lot of people here, but thank you for just genuinely caring. I do believe that most of us want the hobby to be a better place, right? To be a healthier place. If anybody has questions, there are a lot of support out there in the community. Don't be shy of reaching out to any of these people. They are more than happy to help. And that was the main reason that I went through this and not jump straight into a credit card chargeback or a PayPal dispute. Because to me, I think this is the right course of action. And credit card companies and bank has nothing to do with it. The first line of defense should always be Beckett's and eBay, and the answers should come from them. So there's a lot of encouragement from the hobby to allow me to kind of pursue this route. As for what's for me next, I really enjoy communicating with a lot of people, a lot of you guys on this channel. It's honestly really heartwarming. I'm a designer by trade, so what I might do is I might post some ideas on how to display cards better with 3D stuff. So for instance, I have a collection of Michael Jordan figurines, right? So I have Michael Jordan from college days to baseball, to early Bulls days, to Space Jam, and then to the 97 winning Bulls. One of the idea is to make a display that has a Michael Jordan card associated with each era of Jordan. Just an idea, so it may be some fun stuff to come in the future. No promises, but that may be on the channel. But I think that pretty much wraps up the saga, at least from my end. I know Dan is gonna actively pursue the right thing from both, getting the right outcome from the seller's standpoint, and maybe digging a little bit deeper with Beckett and eBay. But as far as for me, the refund is in progress, and I think I will wrap up this saga. So thank you again all for your support. Look out for Dan's interview. I know it's Father's Day, so for all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. Let's stay in touch. Bye-bye.